So just when I started praising the MCU for Ant-Man Quantumania trailer and how it looked pretty good to make people want to go see Marvel movies again, apparently it's come out that the Marvel Studios casting director just confirmed that the studio will basically double down, triple down, and continue to embrace their forced representation and diversity agenda that is actually slowly killing the MCU, in my opinion, and also in the opinion of others. This is something that we've been dealing for a while, all over on Phase 4 and a little bit into Phase 3 towards the end, but it's something we've been dealing with hardcore in Phase 4. And a lot of people are sick of it. They really are, because you can see it coming a mile away. You can see the agendas coming a mile away. Anytime they release a trailer, you could just tell what was forced and what wasn't. You can see what's organic and what wasn't. And unfortunately, now we have another confirmation that this is going to continue to be a thing. So they're going to double down, triple down on their diversity, equity, and inclusion nonsense, all because of reason. So let's get into the article, guys. This one comes from some good old bounding into comics, and it says Marvel Studios casting director confirms the studio will continue to embrace their representation and diversity agenda that is slowly killing the MCU. Marvel Studios casting director Sarah Finn, it's always a woman. when it when it comes to like diversity, equity, and inclusion nonsense, it's always a white woman. I guarantee you. I need to look up who this person is. Hold on. Yeah, it's oh my god, it's always a fucking white liberal woman in Hollywood that looks like this, that wants to talk about diversity, equity, and inclusion. Always. It always is. I swear to God. You got your Kathleen Kennedys of the world. You got Sarah Finn. It's always this. But let's get back in. So it says Marvel Studios casting director Sarah Finn recently confirmed that the film production company will continue to embrace the representation and diversity agenda that has seen the Marvel Cinematic Universe fall into decline during Phase 4, a phase that was unceremoniously killed early by Marvel Studios boss Kevin Feige. Speaking with The Wrap, Finn lied about the diversity and representation agenda not being a proclamation. She said it wasn't from my experience a proclamation. Of course it was. Of course it was. Like why do you constantly deny? I wish, honestly, I would be more respecting of this whole diversity, equity, inclusion bullshit if you would just come out and actually just admit it. If you just come out and say, you know what, yes, we have boxes we need to check. Our corporate ESG scores tell us we need to check this, and this is what we need to do, whether you guys like it or not. I would respect that more than you trying to dance around it and say, no, this is not what we're doing. We're just hiring the best people for the role who all happen to be black at this point. Like, just come on, man. Just tell the fucking truth. Just tell the truth. I'm a POC myself. Just tell the truth, bro. Like, there's no reason to lie about it, okay? Just tell the fucking truth. We will be more respecting to you at that point. And you know what? I wouldn't give you as much crap. I really wouldn't, honestly. Because if you're more truthful about your agenda and what you're doing, I would be like, all right, at least they came out and they said it. You know what I mean? Instead of dancing around it and trying to pretend like you're not doing it when you are. It says, however, the Walt Disney Company, who is the parent company of Marvel Studios, has made it very clear that they do indeed have quotas and have made numerous proclamations about pushing the diversity and representation agenda. On their Reimagine Tomorrow website, the first thing you see is a message that reads, at Disney, inclusion is for everyone. Reimagine Tomorrow is our way of amplifying underrepresented voices and untold stories, as well as championing the importance of accurate representation in media and entertainment, because we all are greater than a single story and we all deserve to feel seen, heard, and understood. The website also previously indicated that they had the goal of making 50% of regular and recurring characters across Disney Entertainment scripted content come from underrepresented groups by 2022. So they want to have 50% representation in media for a population of 13%. Make it make sense. It has since been updated and now reads, we are committed to inspiring a more inclusive world by reimagining the way we tell stories and who tells them. Our intention is to broaden access and diversity in our industry by adopting inclusion standards across Disney General Entertainment and live action studio productions by the end of 2022, with the goal of advancing representation in front of and behind the camera in marketing and more. Well, actually, the funny thing is, so they want to reach 50% representation on screen, right? For basically black people. Let's just be real with you, right? It's usually it's dark skinned people. It's not really Hispanics. They always hire black people usually. But let's say they do 50% of on screen representation, right? If you look at their hiring practices, and I went over this on a stream a couple months ago, I believe, the hiring practices of Disney are basically falling in line with the overall population numbers, right? So the majority of people at Disney are white. Okay. And the majority of white people at Disney are in leadership positions or something closer to that, right? So like something higher along those lines, whatever. And then you have minority representation, right, in terms of hiring practices. And black people make up around, I believe it was like 14%, 14 or 15% of overall people who were working there. And most of them were in lower positions, right? Same thing for the Hispanic people. Hispanic people made up, I believe, like 10% or something along those lines. And once again, in lower positions. So the funny thing is that these people who preach diversity, equity, inclusion, their hiring practices don't really show that. Their hiring practices show that they want to keep the status quo going while showing publicly on screen that they're not doing so when in fact they are. They are completely trying to keep the status quo going because that's what makes them comfortable because these people really don't care about diversity, equity, and inclusion. It says, however, it also includes ABC Entertainment's inclusion standards, which calls for 50% or more of regular and recurring written characters come from underrepresented groups. Not only do characters have to come from underrepresented groups, but 50% of actors should as well. That's amazing. The standards also include quotas for producers, writing staff, directors, and ironically, casting directors. Can you imagine being hired just for your skin color? Like, can you imagine what that must feel like? Honestly, like that must feel like shit. It really must feel like shit. But a lot of these people are willing to take a paycheck regardless of whether or not they're being used for a quota or not. They don't really care. They're perfectly fine with taking a paycheck. And I understand that. Get your money. But still, it must really, like, deep down, when you're home alone, you're sitting in bed and you're just in your thoughts, it must really suck. It must really, really suck. This certainly looks like a proclamation to me. On top of this, CEO Bob Iger also declared that one of the company's core values is inclusion when addressing Disney employees back in November. He stated this company has been telling stories for 100 years, and those stories have had meaningful positive impact on the world. And one of the reasons that they've had a meaningful positive impact is one of our core values is inclusion, acceptance, and tolerance. And we can't lose that. We just can't lose that. These people are so like, they try to make themselves seem so grand, and it's always people that look like this. It's always people that look like that. Kevin Feige also revealed back in April of 21 that the Internals film was moved to the top of their release schedule due to the race and gender swaps that are part of the overall representation and inclusion agenda. He told Variety, while the notion of switching up the genders, sexualities, and ethnicities of the characters from the comics was baked in initially, that was part of what Nate Moore was really advocating for in moving Eternals to the top of the list for us to start working on. In fact, Feige would also note that they set out with the intention of changing characters before they even got to casting. When it came to casting, that also did affect it. There were some characters that we changed from male to female. There were some characters that we knew how we were altering them from the books, but then it also came down to casting. Given the way Walt Disney Company CEO Bob Iger and Marvel Studios boss Kevin Feige have made it very clear the goals they are committed to, it came as no surprise that Finn echoed what the rest of them have been saying, albeit trying to claim it's not being mandated. She informed the Wrap, I will say that after Avengers Endgame, it was one of the things that really fueled me. You know, that there's the moment of, wait, where do we go from here? After Endgame, it felt so final. And then, of course, that impulse is we go with more representation, more diversity. We go younger. There's a whole fresh wave to explore here. And that's exactly what they did. Endgame, from phase 1 to the end of phase 3, that was for the real fans, right? Phase 4 and after is them trying to hold on to whatever they can while also trying to pander to the younger crowd, the more mentally unstable, I should say. They go for the younger crowd because they're trying to indoctrinate them into being fans for the long haul, and it's working with most of them, admittingly. It says, and for me personally, that's really giving me tremendous energy to kind of move forward, she added. So basically, she's saying that after the end of phase 3, she's been full on swinging for her own personal agendas. This is something that is allowed her to do now that Endgame is over. She feels like she can have a clean slate where she can push whatever diversity, equity, and inclusion nonsense that she wants to push. This is what Marvel is going to keep doing, and it's unfortunate because, like I said, I just praised Ant-Man and the Wasp Quantumania trailer for looking like old school Marvel from phase 1 to phase 3. It looked really good. It looked a lot more serious, and unfortunately now it seems like they're going to completely be going in the opposite direction continuously because that's what they want to do, and that's the energy that they're going to have. So anyway, guys, thank you so much for watching this video. I hope you did enjoy, and if you did, consider leaving me a subscribe. I would greatly appreciate it. Don't forget to like the video, comment, let me know what you thought of today's story, and I'll see you guys on the next one. Hypnotic out.